All this from Rosebud Radio Fest for just $3. Keep watching to see what bargains I picked up. Most of the items were bought near the end of the Hamfest, and some were not just bought but given away. First up, we've got this 50 MHz antenna matcher. Ideal for these high sunspot conditions, it will match almost any antenna on 6 meters. Just looking at it, we've got a little 2-turn coil that is attached to the transmitter input. It's like a link coupling arrangement. Then there's a larger coil and 2 variable capacitors. This will match a wide range of antennas. Here is a SO239 where you can connect a unbalanced antenna, and here, well, looks like they use this on a balanced antenna. You can see the remnant 300 ohm ribbon cable. This type of coupler would work with a G5RV or similar, with the option of balanced or unbalanced feed, thanks to this link coupling arrangement. No one wanted it, so it came home with me. Oh. Not very good VSWR without the coupler. Coupler in line, down to 1-to-1. Unlike the last few days on 6 meters, nothing out of the local, but a few local stations are at least receiving me on FT8, the furthest being up to about 70 kilometers distant. So yeah, the antenna coupler for 6 meters definitely works. This bag is a lot of other goodies. Now, some of these were near the end of the Hamfest where you could fill a bag for $1, and so there's all sorts of bits and pieces. So let's spend some time and have a look through various treasures and bits and pieces. Anyway, most of them probably won't be of much use, but there will be some gems. So let's have a look. Well, here's someone's project. Have no idea what it is. Obviously a homemade thing. Possibly automotive electronics, looking at the connections. Anyway, the great thing about it is there's this nice plastic box. Pity about the lid though. But what's the real treasure are these switches. This one's a standard single pole double throw, just like this one here. But these are real gems. Not just double pole double throw, but they've got an intermediate middle position as well. These switches might be $10 each individually. So just this unit alone is a bargain. And having a switch with an intermediate position like this is great for some applications like antenna couplers, where you can switch coils and capacitors, not just 2 positions, but 3. I've described that in some of my earlier videos. So these switches alone are just gold for the amateur constructor. Let's pour this bag out. Well, this looks like a 3D printed thing, held together with a rubber band. Maybe it's handles for a box. Maybe you could just screw it to the side of the box and you've given yourself some handles where you can carry it. Ideal for portable equipment, and at the same time also protects the front panel. So bit of a unique thing here. Here's some wire. Well, it feels like single stranded type wire, so useful for leads inside equipment, possibly antenna projects. Here we are, some figure 8 cable, maybe 5 or 6 meters, so that would be good for a small dipole for a band like 6 or even 10 meters. Always handy to have figure 8 type cable. Rotary switches, increasingly rare, good to have. Oh, look what we've got here, a piezo transducer. 9-volt battery. Let's see if we can get anything to come out of it. Must be wrong polarity. Let's have another go. There we are, nothing wrong with it at all. Perfect for any small alarm. What's this? Rotary switch. It's got CB channels up to 23. So possibly useful for someone repairing something. Here's a little circuit board. Let's zoom in. Can we see this? This looks like possibly a masthead amplifier. Anyway, there's likely a VHF amplifier transistor in there. Maybe even UHF, given how small some of these inductors are. Little battery holder here, ideal for button cell powered devices. Now this is interesting, a micrometer stereo FM transmitter. J-car kit, there's some RCA connections on it, a couple of switches, they're really nice looking toggle switches, and lots of other connections. In fact, suspiciously too many. Let's have a look inside it. Well, this micrometer, it says it's a stereo FM transmitter. Oh, well, that's definitely not a transmitter. It's just an audio switch box. Still, the switches themselves, the RCA sockets, and the 3.5mm sockets, they'll be useful for something. So, no regrets. No ferrite rod, but it does look like some sort of radio. And the CD2003 is indeed a receiver chip. An AM/FM radio receiver chip. Variable capacitor there. Nice big control. Even the variable capacitor alone would be useful for many projects. Right over here we've got a whole selection of circuit boards, adapters. We've got USB to, I think that's PS2 or keyboard adapter, whatever it's called. Now, what is this? This looks like ultrasonic transducers, possibly a thing that plugs into an Arduino. If you're doing some distance measurements or sensors, then this could be ideal. Maybe even the basis of an ultrasonic remote control. Not sure what this is, but very, very small. And these two tiny surface mount ICs. This, well, maybe it's some form of antenna or transmitter module even, not sure. What have we got here? Okay, TNC2, 1995. I'm sure some viewer would know what these are about. Maybe it's old packet radio chips, TNC2. Anyway, there's a set of 3 chips here. And that says TNC300. TNC2. Now, I'm sure that someone would have some ideas on that. But anyway, there's another whole bag full here. Let's have a look. Well, we have a whole heap of nuts and bolts. Well, these would be, you know, several dollars in their own rights. But anyway, we've got multiple packs of them. So this will keep us going with nuts and bolts for a long time. And what is this? Well, this looks like pretty modern 3D printed stuff. And there's not just one, but 2. So if you're making a trap dipole, well, something like this. 3D printed antenna traps could be okay. Maybe a little bit small for HF, but if you're building a 10 and 6 meter trap dipole, then these might be perfect. And in their pack, unused, knurled head nut and bolt. M4 times 20mm. Anyway, not sure why you'd use those, but anyway, they are a bargain. And we have lots of other nuts and bolts, and this looks like an old Morse key, but it's not. It is a micro switch. Has someone put a knob on it, or is this something that was just, this is how it was made out of the factory? Maybe something that detected a door opening and switched something on. Anyway, interesting looking micro switch there. This bag has a few things, and we've got a BNC and nothing on the end, but it doesn't matter. Still very, very handy for things. Just attach 50 centimeters of wire, and another one as a radial, another 2 maybe, and then you've got yourself a simple ground plane for the 2 meter amateur band. Make it a third of the length for 70 centimeters. Now this bag is rather heavy. Some toroids there. Now these are probably power supply type. They're not going to be much good for high frequency, but the real gold here is BNC sockets. Always need BNC sockets, and these are normally a few dollars a pop, so just got ourselves at least 4 BNC sockets, so that's fantastic. Not sure what this is. It looks like some sort of toroid, but it doesn't feel heavy enough. What else have we got? Well, I'm sure there is something else heavier. Oh, there's some more bits and pieces here. In fact, we had 3 of these trap-like devices, and I thought this was a big fat black ferrite toroid, but no, it's lots of enamelled copper wire, perfect for building coils, inductors, for antenna couplers and the like. But leaving possibly the best till last. What is this? Icom ICM12. No battery, but we can just apply some voltage here, see what we get. It's a VHF transceiver of some description. There's the BNC antenna socket. It's channelized, and on the back are some possible channels. Maybe that's by the position on here. And I'm not sure how old this is, maybe 1980s. Anyway, I've put the volume, I've just turned it on there, put the squelch back, and we have a 9-volt battery. So let us see what happens. It says negative there, so positive is going to be the inside. Let's apply some power and see what happens. Okay, we just got something there. Alright, there we are, unsquelched. I think this is actually a VHF marine type transceiver. What I'll do, I'll find a better power source, put a dummy load on it, and see if we can get it transmitting on some of these potentially interesting frequencies. Of course, we're not allowed to use this legally, but as a transmitter, but as a receiver, well, maybe we'll be able to hear marine band weather transmissions. And all you need is a little converter, a diode, a couple of transistors, a free-running VFO on, say, 10 or 20 megahertz, and you'll potentially be able to receive other VHF transmissions with this operating as a fixed-frequency IF. Probably a very high-quality receiver. It is quite solid, well-built. Icom would have cost hundreds of dollars in its day. So this is potentially the basis of an interesting project. And what else? Well, we've got some leads here. Great pigtails for connecting up to various VHF other projects that use these type of SMA connectors. This doesn't look much, but we have here an RF test setup. Power going in here, dropped from 12 volt down to about 8 volts with this voltage regulator. We've got a squeaky here set up with a 9 volt battery. Check my other videos for details of the squeaky. We've got the Icom transceiver here, and a dummy load, so we're not radiating any signal. Right here, an RTL SDR set up on VHF. First of all, push the button and we get RF, according to the squeaky. So this is definitely transmitting. As to what frequency, well, we've got SDR sharp set up, and push the button and look at that. Look at that, a big transmission. Just near 156.8 megahertz. Let's tune this in and see if we hear a signal. Hello. Well, we have some interesting effects, but we are definitely transmitting on the marine band. 156.8 into the dummy load, of course. The channels are all over the place, but it is showing signs of RF output on all positions except for WX, which I think is intended to be receive only. Next thing is find a signal and see if we can actually receive any transmission on this. Just did a search and looks like that channel 67 is the weather channel here locally. 1848 EST, which is, well, as it happens, in 40 minutes' time.
18th of November. Winds westerly 20 to 30 knots, decreasing to 15 to 20 knots in late evening. Seas 2 to 3 metres. Swell west to southwesterly 1.5 to 2.5 metres. Weather cloudy, 70% chance of showers. Central Gippsland Coast, Wilson's Promontory to Lakes Entrance. Forecast for Sunday 16th of November. Winds westerly 15 to 20 knots, reach up to 25 knots in the west in the late evening. Seas 1 to 1.5 metres, increasing to 1 to 2 metres in the west. Winds westerly 20 to 30 knots. Seas 1 to 2 metres, increasing to 2 to 3 metres during the morning. Swell westerly around 1 metre, increasing to 1 to 1.5 metres during the morning. So, that's our find from the Rosebud Radio Fest 2025, all for just $3. Is it a bargain, or did I get ripped off? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Enjoy these videos? Want to start in amateur radio? Well, check out my books, Ham Radio Get Started for USA readers, and the Australian Ham Radio Handbook for those in Australia. For more information, visit my website VK3YE.com or search their titles on Amazon.